you know, as a person of Christian faith, like as we were talking about earlier, like I have a couple of streams that are informing my experience in the consultation room where we're meeting with people. And one has to do with an anthropology that looks at, you know, the opening chapters of Genesis, where we, for whatever reason, the Hebrews thought it was really important to name how it was that the man and the woman that God creates were naked and unashamed, right? They don't say, the Hebrews had other words. They could have said they were naked and happy. Mm-hmm. They were naked and, you know, unafraid. They were naked, a range of different things. Mm-hmm. The notion that shame actually shows up, I'm introducing this topic, the notion that it shows up in the documents early, and the idea that shame actually shows up neurobiologically very early in development, 15 to 18 months of age, right? Toddlers are already starting to sense it in their neurobiological interactions with others. I think that we're finding ways to manage that all the time. And we long to be seen, to be known as a built-in part of our neurobiological architecture. And we do a lot of things to try to promote that. I think the experience of most people is that shame interferes with that. We find ways to cope with that, and we're really good at finding ways to cope with that, such that we're not even aware that we're doing that anyway. We're so automatic at that. And so by the time we come even to structures like college, where people are doing things to try to create and promote social connection, that's a lovely thing to do. We try to do that in church, right? But even in church, we have a hard time being vulnerable in the way that you're talking about. We're having a hard time, like, look, we say, look, human beings don't actually have to try to be vulnerable. Like, we are vulnerable. Like, look, we're the only animals that on purpose put clothes on, right? Like, people put clothes on their dogs. I don't know why, right? The dogs aren't asking for this, right? But we do these kinds of things. But like, we are vulnerable, but the question is, to what degree am I able, it gets back to the question of like, who are the people who know absolutely, collectively, everything there is to know about me, to the degree that I can tell you the thing that I'm most afraid of, the thing that I most desire, and the thing that I feel most ashamed that I do desire. And those kinds of things actually create what we would call potentially integrating neurobiological changes that actually lead to human flourishing, when we're actually able to be vulnerable in a space in which, as we were saying earlier, you can see me and hear me, and then you leave the room and you come back, right? And so the question for us, from where I sit in the consultation room, is who are the people with whom I can be this vulnerable, by whom I can be this deeply known, and by that not just as facts, but a felt sense of I'm seen by a real person, and know that that person really wants to come back and see me, even though they've seen the parts about me that I hate the most.